Okay, Haley. So, overview of how I look at sport, movement, training people. I look at it holistically. I think I'm a generalist and a universalist. I think I see the big picture. I believe in the big picture. I've made a lot of mistakes getting myopic, getting too linked, too tight. So for me, with athletes and performance staff, I found the greatest comfort and the greatest synergy if I stay holistic, remain a generalist and a universalist. So when I look at things, if they don't pass those three, then I have a tendency to not spend much time on it. I believe strongly mechanical efficiency should drive training, and that mastery is the key. I think if you want healthier, more confident athletes, get them mechanically more efficient. I have strong models in all the field events, and in sprinting, running, marathoning. I disagree with a lot of the biomechanists that are on the traveling roadshow. What I do is I look at top performers, age group, masters, youth, Asians, Caucasians, blacks, Caribbean, Africans, and I look for common denominators. So if I find a common denominator in a movement, or a limb position, or a posture, then that is the beginning of my model. And I'm very strong on that. I think there's a right way to run, or start, or throw. And if you're not doing that, you're going to pay a price, whether it's in injury, or mechanical efficiency, or performance. Central nervous system, fascia, collagen matrix are what I use to guide training. When I write programming, those are the first three questions I ask for any component I entertain or think about. If I don't understand how it's affecting those with my limited research background and knowledge and network, then I'm cautious about putting it in. Mechanical efficiency can be affected daily by therapy inputs. So, yeah, I'm the bad guy that brought trackside therapy here. I believe the elite athletes are Formula One race cars, and that you can really affect a lap in a Formula One race by a proper mechanic doing his job in a timely manner. I think the reason we don't have more in the literature on that is because the guys that are doing cutting edge work don't have time to write and publish and do, I don't want to do a double blind and say a third of our guys get treatment, a third don't, and a third go the conventional way, because we're under tight timelines and our resources are very, very limited here. My resource system is network driven. 38 years, coached a lot of people, a lot of different sports, and that's opened doors to certain experts in a lot of areas, whether it's radiology or cancer treatment, and neurotransmitter problems, IVs, you name it. So I lean heavily on a network. You guys are part of my network. My programming and thought process is like Linux computer language. It's constantly evolving and being shaped. If you look at my basic training plans from 1972, the core theme hasn't changed, but it morphs. Sets, reps, ranges. We have some unique people. Ray Rutherford trains 3 or 4 days a week. In season, maybe 2 days a week. Is that conventional? No, but that's what works for him. So I've got to ascertain, if I can only train this guy 2 days a week, what's really important. What's nice to know versus needs to know. Programming, as I said, is Linux. So experts, personal growth, but above all athletes. I listen to athletes. talk, body language, tone of voice, questions. Questions athletes answer tell you whether they understand or don't, or it's not making sense, they're not buying in. I think if you listen to an athlete critically with your eyes and your ears and your hands, you get information that isn't apparent. So I think great therapists listen with their hands, not just their ears and their eyes. I think a therapist that can get out there and see movement and real-time tasks and understand movement and the model and that has the feel is way ahead of the game. They're rare. Those are the kind of people that I'm attracted to, is people that can collect information from multiple sensory positions. Teaching and motor control is foundational, what I believe in and what I do. I think one of my strengths is I'm a pretty good teacher, and I think motor control is a very, very young science. I think there's a tendency to take studies and try to mechanically implement it into a factory motif for changing things or teaching things. I think that's a bit myopic, and in my experience it doesn't work very well. I've been influenced by great teachers and leaders in their field, so when I read a lot of history and biographies. I'm attracted to people who teach, whatever discipline, and are leaders in their field. I'm curious why people are successful, how they interact with people, who's in their network, how have they changed. So Stephen Jobs' biography is really intriguing to me, because this guy went through about 5 metamorphoses in his life. Okay. Genius, was he a nice guy? No. Did he get along with people? No. But could he get people to pull together on a project? Undoubtedly. Proper movements produce proper healing, and progression schemes are an art. So I'm a big believer, if you really want healing, or as healed as you can get, it's important to do proper movement as soon as possible, and there's a progression to it. But I think movement, the best way for things to heal is movement. When an animal in the wild gets hurt, they don't lay down. They don't get put in a cast. They move. They may move adaptively, but they move. There's plenty of evidence deer, elk, cows, cattle have fractures and subluxations and stuff. And they don't go to the polyclinic and do a 10-week rehab rubber band thing. They move. Plan B programming must be as close to Plan A as possible. So I think one of the things that I noticed when I got here was there was a gap. Person get injured, went through all this rehab and time down and therapies and inputs, and then, okay, you're free to train. And things got detrained. A lot of things got detrained. A lot of faith was put in certain programs that may not have worked, but the biggest problem was the gap. And so there was a lot of re-injuries. In my experience, when you see re-injuries, it's because of a gap. So I'm big in Plan B programming. As you can see, we do a lot of like bike workouts. If one leg's dinged up, well, you're doing single leg bike workouts. We're attacking cardiopulmonary, nervous system, hormonal panels, and whatnot other ways. Single leg lifts. If one leg's dinged up, well, lift with one leg. There's 70% cross-ed. Goldie Sayre is probably the best example of this. 2 pretty radical surgeries for her event, one on each side of the body. Still had the second best year of her career through Plan B training. Rob Tobin, another classic example. Christian Malcolm 2 years ago had 14 workouts, stress workouts, wins the European silver medal. 14 stress workouts the entire year. He stayed close. Constant search for integrated task management schemes. So I think when an athlete runs or throws or jumps. There's a lot of systems going on all at once. Cardiopulmonary, CNS, collagen matrix, mental thought process, motor control, multiple systems simultaneously. And I think we influence those systems. All of us, how we attack problems and look at problems.